I'll just put it on record.
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So last class we looked into verse number 13, 14 and 15 of chapter 4. चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्धि अकर्तारम अव्ययम्. So it's so uncanny that we have been discussing it in the 18th chapter of Tuesday class. So everything we have discussed there also. So anyway, brief, Rajiv, you can summarize this class very briefly.
Somebody from verse 14, no? Chaturvarnya is not to be done, no?
13, 14, 15. We have done already. 16, we have to do 16, 17, 18 today.
So, Samji, 13 also is to be done?
No. 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 13 is Chaturvarnyam.
So Samji, because we said no, in the beginning, Samji, because he had done it, we leave
It's
13.
okay,
We
but
start.
just I'm saying one-liners you can say.
Ji, Samji. Ji, Samji. So, Samji, Bhagavan talks about the fourfold group of people which is based on karma vibhaga and guna vibhaga. This is basically the whole, because as we know that we have four gunas in the prakriti, and these gunas are part of the antakarana also, and these gunas interact with each other, and based on these gunas, these four gunas are sattva, sorry, three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, and depending upon this composition of these gunas, we can have a combination of from a guna vibhaga we can have four of them, and each has its own peculiarity. And these groupings are done just for the sake of understanding the self and evolution, rather than making a comment on or judging people. So anyone, the first combination, which is because there are certain combinations which are good for contemplation and studying, and they can help the seeker to, and the others, if you have sattva, rajas and tamas, such people who have predominance of sattva are very contemplative in nature, and they have a mind which is calm, and these are the people who are fit to become sannyasis because they already have uh, control over their mind. And the other ones, like the combination of rajas, sattva, tamas, rajas, tamas, and tamas and sattva, or tamas, rajas, and sattva. These three combinations of the people have to do karma yoga to mature their minds, to make antakarana shuddhi, and to be able to gain knowledge. So they need a maturity of mind through karma yoga. So these three
Hmm.
people, these three groups have to do karma yoga. And first group, which is sattva, rajas, and tamas, he is a man of maturity. So these persons can, they are brahmana by duty and brahmana by karma also. So they are the ones who can are fit to become sannyasis. Then there is a discrimination on a karma vibhaga also. So you can be a brahmana by guna, but you can be kshatriya by guna. So all these are combinations are possible, and this is basically, these are duties, and these duties, there's no discrimination between the duties. And basically, in Bhagavad Gita, it also talks about the maturity of the mind. So this maturity of mind is determined by one's spirituality is determined by the maturity of mind, the way you do your duty, and not by the duty itself. And Samji, the important part is that we know that in the guna vibhaga division, people don't change. So that's why Bhagwan had said that you must stick to your swadharma and not paradharma, because by changing karma, guna is not changed. So if you
By
are aspiring,
changing duties, by changing your lifestyle, by changing, I want to do this, not according to your stipulated karma. Karma dharma is according to, Varna and Ashrama. At the
जी समझे.
Vedic times, it was according Varna and Ashrama.
हाँ.
Varna is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Ashrama is Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanapastha, and Sannyasa. So, what the dharmas are associated according to the four Varnas or according to the four Ashramas. But in today's world, when we look into it, what please mute yourself, Rohini. So whatever you have to, whatever you is being given to you, your duty, whatever you are doing, according to that, if you do it dutifully, you're not changing. You know, here we are talking according to the Vedic system. Therefore, you change your duties according to your likes and dislikes, not according to the Varna or Ashrama. That is not. That is considered to be wrong. So therefore, swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhyava, that was said. Yes, continue, Rajiv.
With respect to karma, all these divisions, as we seen that besides karma vibhaga and guna vibhaga, there's another aspect of it is jati, the family that you are born. And Bhagavan says that Shankara says that it's all because of your prarabdha only that you get a particular family, and you have to do your particular karma with respect to Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, or Shudra, because you are birth is your own doing, and it is nothing to do with the Ishvara. And that's why, even though I have created it, I'm a karta, because this janma of yours is your karma only. Because with this karma, you create karma phala, and karma phala creates janma. Janma creates more karma, and more karma phala, and more janma. So this wheel chakra is created by you only. I have nothing to do with it. That's why I am a karta. And then everyone has a capacity to change his or her composition, because everyone has a free will, because you are blessed with a free will, so you can work hard and change your prarabdha, and can bring a change in your maturity also. And I am only as a karam phal data, and I'm absolutely impartial in this aspect. And karta is, we know, is from the standpoint of aham only, ahankar only. And if you have this understanding that you also have this understanding that I'm a karta, that is basically you. Is jnanam, and Ishwar obviously doesn't have it because he doesn't have a tattva buddhi. And then from in verse 14, Bhagavan says, continuing from the same discussion, Bhagavan says that uh, I actions don't affect me because I have no kartatva, and there's no longing with reference to the result or actions for me, because I don't have any raga and dvesha for me. And anyone who knows me like this, a person who has neutralized his raga dveshas and knows himself to be a karta, and he is not bound with the actions, he also gets released by the action, because as we discussed that actions leads to samsara, that perpetuates samsara. And then if anyone knows himself the way Bhagavan is, then he gets released from the samsara. And in verse 15, Swamiji, he just says that knowing me, continuing with the verse 14, concept of verse 14 only, in Bhagavan says that anyone who knows me in this manner, even seekers of the ancient times have performed action this way, and therefore perform actions indeed as even it was done by those who come before in the ancient past. So you also do your work without thinking yourself to be a karta, and that's the way you the work or karma has been done by the past also. So you also do the same way, basically stating that
Hmm.
nishkarmya is basically the state of actionlessness, and that is moksha. It's not gained by not doing karma. So non-doership has to be understood as a very nature swarupa of the oneself, and that you have to gain jnanam for that. So that maturity is done gained through karma, and thereafter you will have maturity, that understanding through jnanam.
Yes. Anybody else wants to say anything about the last class? Gautam ji, हो गया ना?
Dr. Saab has already covered, sir.
Okay, we'll go today's class.
Yeah, yeah.
So now he is actually this whole portion, this chapter is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. The topic yoga is Karma Sannyasa. Karma Sannyasa by Jnanam. That is the whole discussion going on. So karma is in the picture. So karma is in the picture because anything you have to understand about Brahman, so through karma also you can understand everything. And therefore karma, akarma, these two terms have to be understood. Why akarma? Akarma is actionlessness as such, which I have to, it is my own sarupa. And therefore, what is akarma, what is karma, what is vikarma, and what is akarma? These three terms have been used, that will come. So now in the 16th chapter, Bhagavan says, what is the true meaning of action and inaction? Then he gives the, in the 17th verse, what is karma, what is vikarma, and what is akarma. Then he explains with a very cryptic verse, karmanya karmaya pashyat, that we have to look into today. So in short, we will look and I will try to summarize the whole thing in a nutshell. Kiಂ karma kim karmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatti karma pravakshami yajñatva mokshase shubhat. So he says, even the seers, kavaya is the seers. So Swamiji writes, Medhavi is also the meaning. Seers are meaning the one who knows completely, in details also. Medhavi just know the details. He may not be having the whole understanding, understanding. But this fellow, Kavayaha, he is a Medhavi also, and he has complete understanding and he retains the details also of that understanding. So he knows the subject matter, the Vishaya, and also the details of that subject matter also he retains that much Kavaya. He is a seer of that kind. So even the Kavaya of this kind of scholars, the seers, also get confused with reference to what is action and what is inaction. So what is action and what is actionlessness? So what is karma and what is akarma? So actually, I am going to tell you, Bhagavan says about karma. Why I am going to tell you? Because knowing which you will be released from the what is inauspicious. Moksha se ashubhat moksha se. Ashubhat moksha se. You will get released. Moksha se. You will be released from what? Ashubhat. What is Ashubha? That which is inauspicious. What is inauspicious? Samsara. Your wrong understanding, your doubts, that is also inauspicious. All kinds of doubts you keep on going, keep on understanding, keep taking yourself to the karta, bhukta. And the whole problem is taking yourself to the karta through the karma. And this understanding, because of this Ashubha, with this understanding, total understanding about action and actionlessness, if I talk to you in details about karma, the whole knowledge aspect will also be revealed to you, so to say. So that is what he says here. Kavaya, that is what he means akarma. So what is karma? What is akarma? You know, all these things, karma, akarma, karma means whatever action we do. And akarma means that the Atma, Neshkarma, what is being talked about in the fourth chapter, that Jnana Karma Sannyasa, that there is no action, there is no Kriya in the Atma. That Neshkarmam is akarma here. So that actionlessness, Neshkarmam is akarma. And therefore, Shankara says that karma here stands for both what you are doing, pravritti or nivritti, both ways. that what you do, what you don't do, that both ways karma will stand, and therefore karma has to be understood. Action and inaction. Inaction here means not doing something. Therefore, it will be really take you away from the Ashubha, inauspicious. Swamiji says, what is auspicious is Shubha. And Shubha in the end of the books, like you write finish, that you know, that you have to, like iti Shubha, iti thus, it ends. So Shubha they write. And that means it is not just finishing. It is not कि खत्म हो गया. हम कहते हैं समाप्त हो गया, सम्यक आपति और शुभ इति शुभ. These words we write, right? Then the next verse, anybody wants to say anything on this verse?
Swamiji, that our big Swamiji has mentioned that Shankara confirms in the commentary on his verse that karma here stands for both karma and akarma.
Akarma here means
हाँ,
that non-action, or there is a pravritti and nivritti, that kind of a thing.
no action. Means here
Ah,
karma means no action.
ah.
Okay.
So, Swamiji, no action is karma abhava, na, Swamiji?
Karma bhava, yes.
Yeah, absence of action.
Absence of karma and presence of karma. Karma and akarma. That means one word karma itself. Karma means you do it or you don't do it. Vidhi. So karma is always a vidhi. Injunction is there. So it is not only Vedic karma, other karmas also in life. That way. Right? Yeah. Then we go to the next verse. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Buddhavyancha vikarmana akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. So he says karmana bodhavyam. One has to action has to be known. Vikarma means that which is pratishiddha karma, forbidden action, that we are not supposed to do. That also must be known. What you have to do, what you don't have to do, both things you have to know. Akarmanaha bodhavyam, and what is really actionlessness? That is the topic of this fourth chapter. That also, actionlessness also bodhavyam is to be known. Why it is to be known? Because karmana gahana gati. Gahana gati means it is very, very difficult to understand what is really karma. The nature, gati here means the nature of karma. What is the nature of karma? It is so difficult. That is what action means. Swamiji explains completely, enjoined by the scripture. Vidhi. So vidhi means what? What is enjoined? It is to be done. That is the vidhi. Right? So that much is enough. Anybody on this verse? I am going for the next verse because time is less today, and then next verse is very, very, very big.
Swamiji is mentioned here that if karma is to be known, is to say that everything else connected to it is known also. And it says that karma is connected to everything. Everything is interconnected. So the knowledge,
Yeah. So
karma
through karma itself, you can understand Atma, na?
हाँ, so
Because Atma से ही सब कुछ, everything is manifest from the
emanating
Atma.
from
So any one thing you take up, you will end up in Atma only.
Atma.
Yeah.
Swamiji also.
And Swamiji, by understanding, sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead.
By understanding karma, you can have a viveka of Atma and Anatma also.
Yes, Jaya.
Swamiji, I think one very important point over here is about the akarma, because a lot of people assume that doing karma itself, maybe, no, doing nothing is okay. that will not
Not
result in any karma phala. But he's making it very important the difference between non-performance of action and and the absence of doership of action. They're two different things.
Yeah, there are two
And
different things. That is
that's
what,
the central point
that
in
is why he
this.
says ki these three things have to be known. What you have to do, enjoined by the scriptures, what you have told not to do. Not to do, he
Hmm.
says, Suranna Bibet, Kalanjanna Bakshet, these 2 points Swamiji writes. Suranna Bibet means don't drink alcohol. Kalanjanna Bakshet, don't eat meat. These are Vedic injunctions. Pratishiddha karma. Veda is saying that. But if you have Shraddha in Veda, you have to stop. It is not only, last class I told Rekha that it is not only Himsa point of view, it is those who are people are following in life to get into a very subtle aspect of the mind, Antakarana Shuddhi. Antakarana Shuddhi does not mean you are sinners and you are doing papa. It is not that way. You are doing all the time adharma. It is not like that. Antakarana Shuddhi also means, apart from that, going deeper, the subtle aspect, the sukshmata of the mind. The kind of foods you eat has a great say. The whole Jainism is based off what to eat, what not to eat. All science of meditation is with the science of food only. So why these injunctions are there? What is not to be done? Therefore, any vratas you do, any upasanas you do, any anushtanas you do, you eat one time only, you eat very little. Everything is geared up to make your mind most subtle. And that cannot happen when you eat everything. That is what one has to very, very take care. And I am understanding it more and more when I go deeper in my sadhanas, when I went late before also, now also. It is amazing. It is to be discovered by oneself. And that is why now I say with much more authority that what is Veda is saying, you have to have Shraddha. Because certain things you cannot understand through reason all the time. And that reason is puny little mind of one's own, which is going to destroy the whole thinking of the Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is not saying just like that by its whims and fancy that it is giving a mandate. There's a whole rationale behind that mandate. And that is why it is for the Shruti Mata. Shruti Mata is with the mother's love, she is wanting our welfare. For that welfare, you will not understand how much of subtlety is required, because even I discovered certain points about japa, that there are so many layers of manasikam japa. You will discover every other day in your 40 days of anusthana. If you do every other day, you will find you are progressing, going to next level, going to next level. How it is possible when you don't do it? The kind of regimen what is said. So pratishiddha karma, what is being mandated is also is to be followed. So akarma, so vikarma, that is in the category of vikarma. Karma, what is enjoined, what is to be done is to be given. What is not to be done is given. And then what is actionlessness? Why we are doing all these things? To really understand Atma, which is really has no kriya in it. You know, Veda vinashinan nityam jayenam ajamabhyam katam sapurusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam. In that bhashya, the total actionlessness has been explained in this verse in the second chapter. If you remember, Sarva Karma Sannyasa term is explained there. That there is no doership, there is no Atma, the I. Swatasiddha Atma has nothing to do with karma, kriya. So there is no karma or vikarma or anything. Doing or not doing is not there. That is actionlessness. ठीक है?
one for whom night is day when It's day for
Yeah.
others and
Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam. So that is according to understanding, because for a Jnani, uh, for the Jnani, what is day, and for a Jnani, it is the night for the people who are living in the world, for the
yes.
Jnani. Like that, he's sleeping to it. And for where the Jnani is awake, the whole world is sleeping. Totally opposite vision, darshan. Anybody wants to say on that verse? Otherwise, we go forward.
Similar
Today's.
in terms to this combination also, seeing action in action and inaction in action.
Hmm. Therefore, one has to follow with Shraddha what is being said, because slowly, once you start following the mandate, you will recognize why it is given. Initially, you have Shraddha, you don't have your own reason. But once you start following out of love and trust, everything changes in life. You have to start doing it. So, for the taste buds of the tongue, we live, or for the knowledge we live. That is the difference. So, our Antarangji is a very big yogi. The how he, or everything, he observes Ekadashi. So, Ekadashi, today's Ekadashi actually. But he observed yesterday, he wrote to me, because their Panchanga was telling yesterday, Ekadashi. So how Ekadashi Vratam has to be observed, how much Nirjala Ekadashi observes every time. Antarangji.
I
So
think
one
in
day
June.
before and one day after, both day regimen is there. How everything is to be done properly, and he does it. And it has its own effect on the body, the kind of meditation you can get into. Because the purpose is not just for what sake you are doing. It is for the sake of getting deep, subtle mind, so that that subtle mind, Sukshma Buddhi, can understand the whole truth of actionlessness, akarma. That is the idea. Karma has to be understood, vikarma has to be understood. And also, then only we will understand akarma.
And fasting also, it appears to be a karma, but it is a karma.
Ah. So, whatever that is what we are going to look into this verse. Karmanyakarma yapashet. Akarmani cha karma yaha. Sabuddhiman manusheshu. Sayukta kritsna karma kritu. So, karmani akarma yapashet. Now, what is, once you understand what is karma, vikarma, karma, then he says, a very cryptic verse he used. So I am trying to summarize this whole verse, what I have understood, and the way the Shastra is telling. The one who sees actionlessness, akarma here is the actionlessness, avikriya ka atma, that actionlessness, even while you do the action, if you are able to see, atma is not doing anything. So, so translation of akarma is karmani. Akarma is actionlessness. One who is able to see ya pashet with reference to karmani means not in action here, with reference to action. With reference to activity, if you are able to perceive actionlessness, that is the first part. Karmani cha karmaya. And with reference to karma abhava, here the second word akarmani is when you stop doing any action, you are sitting still. You are sitting still, but you are sitting still. You are a doer of not sitting still, not doing anything. Because kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha va kartum shakyam. These three possibilities are there. Kartum shakyam, you are able to do it. Akartum shakyam, you are able not to do it, you don't want to do it. Or you can do it otherwise. You can do it, you may do it, you may not do it, or you may do it otherwise. Anyatha va kartum shakyam. Though these three things, when they are there, even the choice of not doing, who is making the choice? I, no? The doer. The doer is making the choice not to do. And that is why that is inaction. That is karma abhava. Akarmani cha karmayaha. So therefore, this translation will be akarmani is karma abhava. When you are not doing any action, then you see there is an action there. So in the translation, word to word, only same things have been written. But when you go into the commentary in details, that is better. And then he says, Sab buddhiman manusheshu. So it's such a cryptic way of saying that person is buddhiman. And he is a yogi, yukta. Yukta here stands for the one who is a very integrated person. Yukta. He is a yogi. Krishna karma krit. Krishna karma krit. What is to be done in life? Finally, whatever is to be done in life to achieve a final goal, ultimate end, that person has done it. Krishna karma. Krishna means entire karma. Entire karma means whatever one has to do to gain the understanding of the self, that he has already done. Because he is first is yukta and yogi, and therefore he has understood what is actionlessness. That means he has to finish the job. That is what is to be understood about the reality of a you, about the reality of this I, the self-evident I. So the idea of this whole verse is, in many aspects, Swamiji goes very detailed analysis. Swamiji leaves no stone unturned. And that is why he goes very methodically. If you will read these passages 2-3 times, you will know how meticulously he has explained. I hope all of you have studied. As we have decided, we will not take up the objections of the opponents and answers by Shankara, because that is weekly classes. It's not possible. It's a detailed analysis for everyday study class, which cannot be possible, which is not possible to take up in the weekly classes. So we will summarize that. But in this class today, anything you want to say about this? I will first let me finish it. So this is, if you have understanding of Atma as actionlessness, because the whole thing is the doer is Atma, but Atma is not the doer. If you understand this equation, pot is clay, but clay is not pot, then you will understand this karma thing also. The pot is clay, because pot cannot be without clay. Doer cannot be without Atma. The doership, where it is coming from? From Atma only. But Atma can be without the doer. Clay can be without the pot or not. Clay can be without the pot. The doer is Atma, but Atma is not the doer. Atma can be without the doer. Clay can be without the pot. And therefore, in Atma, there is no action. In Atma, there is no Kriya. But no Kriya can be without Atma. So therefore, Karta is Atma. The doer is Atma, but Atma is not the doer. This is the understanding. Satya Mithya. Satya Mithya understanding. What is Satyam? Atma is Satyam. And what is dependent upon that? Anything which is dependent upon Atma. What is dependent upon Atma? The Karta. the doer. Doer cannot be without the Atma. But Atma is not dependent upon the doer. Atma can be without the doership. And therefore, in any activity, Karya Karana Sanghata. Karya is that which is this body, and Karana is instrument. So, body and instrument, Antakarana. Karana is instrument. Karya is whatever is affected as a body, which is the if Karya, which is an effect. What is this? Body is called as Karya. So, Karya Karana Sanghata, the assemblage of this body, mind, sense complex. So, senses are also Karana, mind is also Karana, body is Karya. And therefore, whenever activity is happening through the body, mind, sense complex, we do what? I am doing. But what is happening? Action is happening through the body, mind, sense complex. But I think I am doing it. I is the Atma. Atma is Swata Siddha. It does not require any pramana. How do you say you exist? Do you use any means of knowledge to prove yourself that you exist? You are. अंधेरे में भी खड़े हो तो लाइट जला के देखना थोड़ी पड़ता है आपको कि मैं हूं या नहीं हूं. हाँ? अंधेरे में कहते हो कि मैं नहीं हूं, मैं हूं. या फिर मेरा माइंड काम कर रहा है. Somebody said, some philosopher said, I think, therefore I am. When you don't think, then you are not. Like in deep sleep, you are not. It is not like that. I am, therefore I think. Therefore, all that perception, inference, all the pramanas are working only after I am. I am the self-evident, self-existent self, self-evident, which does not require any evidence. Everything else is evident to me, the self, and I am independently existing. And therefore, all this independent self, which does not require any proof, and therefore, on this self, when any activity happens of this body, mind, sense complex, you impute doership in relationship to the other things of this body, mind, sense complex. For I, there is no kriya in it, nothing in it. It is just untouched, asanga hai wo. And therefore, this understanding to see very clearly this I, that day our Sondi Sahab was asking, I have still not understood how I is everything. Bangle saying, बैंगल को अगर गोल्डन बैंगल है, गोल्ड को कहो कि सिंपल एग्जांपल हम लोग देते हैं वेदांत में कि गोल्डन बैंगल है, बैंगल कह रहा है कि उसको समझ में आएगा कि मैं सोना हूं, मैं बैंगल नहीं हूं, मैं सोना हूं. वेट ऑफ द बैंगल इज व्हाट? वेट ऑफ गोल्ड. अब जितने भी चीजें सोने की हैं, वो सोना होने से तो सारे जेवर, जितने भी जेवर आपकी सेफ में रखे हैं, वो सारे के सारे गोल्ड ही हैं. तो एक गोल्ड अगर बैंगल है, तो अगर वो कहता है मैं सोना हूं, तो वो सारा सोना वही है. फिर वो एक ही हो गया ना, सब कुछ सोना ही हो गया. अब ये घड़े में जो घड़ा है, इसमें जो आकाश है, ये घटाकाश है, और ये रूम का स्पेस है, ये मठाकाश है. तो दिस स्पेस, हाउ इट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम दिस स्पेस? व्हेन दिस स्पेस अंडरस्टैंड्स आई एम पॉट, it's now it is thinking I am pot space. As soon as it understands that really speaking this pot space is only due to this upadhi pot, really speaking I am space, I am all the space, even in the space in the mind I am which is so big, space in the mind. Ting ting. So I used to say ting ting. जो खाली चीज होती है उस पर ऐसे मारोगे तो आवाज आती है ना, टिंग टिंग, व्हेन यू डू लाइक दैट, टिंग टिंग कम, इज इन इनर नथिंग इज देयर, द स्पेस. So all space is me, you know, and that is what once you shift this understanding. So therefore, the Atma, the doership and the actionlessness, the doership, it is even होते हुए भी doership है नहीं. तो मिथ्या, इवन ये पॉट होते हुए भी पॉट है नहीं, ये क्ले ही है, क्योंकि इसका अपना वेट तो कुछ है ही नहीं. है इसका कुछ अपना वेट? इसका वेट तो है ही नहीं. किसका वेट है? क्ले का, मिट्टी का वेट है ना. तो वेट तो है ही नहीं, तो पॉट हुआ कहां पे? जब उसका वेट ही नहीं है तो उसको आप कैसे कह रहे हो, उसकी सत्ता कैसे मान रहे हो? सिंपल सी बात है ना. तो इसलिए जो ये सत्य मिथ्या, तो इसलिए डूअरशिप जो तुमने इंप्यूट कर रहे हो, कर्तापना आत्मा के ऊपर, जो जिसके अंदर जो अकर्म है, जिसमें कोई क्रिया नहीं है, उसके ऊपर आप आत्मा के ऊपर क्रिया आरोपित कर रहे हो. उसका कारण सिर्फ क्या है? अज्ञान. तो ये जैसे ही अज्ञान यहां से हटता है, कैसे हटता है? वो सारा का सारा स्वामी जी ने समझाया हुआ है, श्रवण मनन निधिध्यासन से. दैट इज व्हाट इट इज. एंड देयरफॉर दिस शिफ्ट is a big thing, and this understanding only comes totally once you see that I, self-evident I, there is no going back, right? Who else? Jaya. Who else? What happened? You are mute.
I was just tapping something and it just by mistake
Okay, okay.
muted the
So there is such a lengthy discussion, point by point, you can see into it. And main point I have explained to you. Sabuddhiman Manusheshu. This person who has recognized this, he is really Buddhiman. And therefore, whatever is to be done in life, what are you trying to do? Everything what you are trying to do is know yourself only. A happy me, a me which is, you are saying it, a me which is totally understood, a totally revealed knowledge, knowledge which happens in the mind only. And therefore, this ego, all the ego, which is the ego, who understands all this understanding is revealed to you. This erroneous judgment is taken away by clear thinking. When you expose yourself to the teaching barambar, barambar, paunam punyena shravanam kuryat. So, what are you trying to seek in life? सारे कर्म क्यों कर रहे हो आप? जिससे कि आप सुख से रह सको ना. सुख है कहाँ? देखो कहाँ है सुख, ढूंढो. किधर है? आता है चला जाता है, वैसा वाला सुख नहीं चाहिए. शाश्वत सुखम, नॉट अशाश्वतम. व्हाट दैट अशाश्वतम, शाश्वतम अशाश्वतम, शाश्वत अशाश्वत नहीं चाहिए, शाश्वत सुख चाहिए. राइट? दैट विच इज परमानेंट. नहीं तो अदरवाइज क्या होगा? सोचो और देखो और जानो. सोचोगे तो देखोगे, देखोगे तो जानोगे. I don't know why I am thinking ki everything is given. Only we are just slipping, everything slips from our mind because देखते हुए भी हम देख नहीं रहे हैं, समझते हुए भी समझने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहे हैं। जो हमारे संस्कार हैं उसी के हम रचे पचे हुए हैं उसमें। We are just attuned to whatever we are, our strong likes and dislikes, we carry on with that. And therefore, here the whole thinking so meticulously has been explained. You can raise any point, any questions, what you have not understood, and I can answer. That is the method of our long portions to be dealt with. Otherwise, in this half an hour, I cannot go totally. Yes, Rohini. Rohini, you raised your hand by mistake, I think. Yes. Anybody wants to ask anything?
One topic our Swamiji has mentioned that I am neither the doer nor the enjoyer. So
That is very important point.
yeah, explaining it, what he has mentioned, the self alone is the self-evident, and everything else is evident to the self. That is not the karta. The karta is something that comes and goes.
Yes.
Karta is something, when then he has given the example of the deep sleep. So how
Yes.
karta comes and goes.
Yes. So you are a karta now. In sleep, you are not a karta. The mind is not there. Instrument is there. Mind is the karta. Karyakaran Sanghata is only the karta. And when only the body is left, prana is left, mind is not there, then you are not the karta. You go to deep sleep. But when you are not a karta there, that means karta comes and goes. And when you are not a karta, how can you be the enjoyer also? Bhokta. Because karma ke saath karta is doing karma, and there from karma will come karma phala. So once you are a doer, you are an enjoyer also of the karma phala.
No,
So karma phala.
but when I get up, then I say that I had a good sleep.
Yes, you had a good sleep, but at that time you are not a karta. At that time you are not a karta, na?
Then how came I came to know that I had a good sleep?
That's just inference, because at that point you wake up and you said I slept happily, I did not know anything. So therefore, doership and enjoyership is centered on the I, myself. So Atma, Karta, if it is a doer or a non-doer. If Atma is Karta, then definitely I perform action which produces result, and this real karma is binding karma.
It means that if I am sleeping, means karta is not there. If I am getting up, then karta is coming.
Karta is not there, no?
That's why karta is coming and going.
Yes, that is what it is. Yeah.
I is always there, it is not.
Sanjay, because karma always involves kriya, either a motion or a change of place with reference to another. When you are sleeping, there's neither a kriya nor any change with respect to with respect to reference point. That is one. And secondly, is because antakarana is not there. So antakarana is one of the karakas of the karma. And then you don't have a sense of the self. Aham also is not there. Then who is a karta? There is no karta. When there is no aham, there is no karta. And when there is no karta, there is no bhokta also. So the dream that you see, it has neither karta nor bhokta. Though you enjoy it, but it's a creation of your own. So there's a creation of your antakarana only. And you don't have karta there because you cannot be held responsible for what you dream in your mind, what you have in your mind, because there's no actual change in reality, in empirical world. So that's why you are neither a karta nor a bhokta. And because as we said that ahankara, which is lighted by Atma is a karta. If Atma is a karta because of this Adhyaropa, then it has to be there all the time. The karta has to be there all the time. The very reason that there's sometimes karta appears and sometimes disappears, sometimes bhokta is there and sometimes it's not there, it basically means that Chetana or consciousness is not the karta. It's a basically Adhyaropa. It's a ego or a aham which is a karta. That's how it explains Chetan as akarta.
So therefore, it's all because of superimposition. That's why Brahma Sutra Bhashya, initially Shankaracharya deals with adhyasa, superimposition at the outset. What do you take I and not I, all this mix up is there because of this superimposition, adhyasa. And therefore, Swamiji goes on to explain everything is explained about the ego, how you can surrender, how ego cannot be surrendered, who will surrender the ego. Jaya, did you go through that? Who will surrender the ego? Can you explain that? What Swamiji writes there? I want all of you to read Gita study before you come to the class. Because without reading, you will not be able to know anything.
So, Swamiji, what was your question? Sorry.
What Swamiji writes now, who will surrender the ego?
Uh,
Who surrenders? Can the surrender possible?
only if you know that the ego is false and it's.
That means you have to study the whole portion and then you have to write notes.
Swamiji, it is a surrender is an attitude, but to certain extent only ego can be cut down. So
It is an attitude of knowing about this understanding, because who will surrender ultimately? So beautifully it's been said. I'm very you if you people don't study this, then you will be missing the whole thing.
So by inquiry only that who am I, this ego can be deflected.
Maturity of mind is required.
Actually, Swamiji, it's not something empirical that you can give up because it's notional only.
Yes.
And notion, how can you surrender a notion? For you to surrender a notion, there has to be a karta again. So for you to surrender ego, you have to have a ahankara again. So what do you
Yes.
surrender? Because there has to be a karta to surrender. And if you have a karta has surrendered and there's no ego, there's no aham, then you are not left. Then who is surrendering whom and what is left after surrender?
Yeah.
That's why it's just an attitude. Surrender is just attitude. And that surrender is
Surrender is
basically
just an attitude, a good attitude, but it is not giving up anything that I am giving up my ego.
yeah.
Ego
And
is
Swamiji,
saying I am giving up my ego. How is that possible?
it's basically understanding that whatever I have, whatever I am, is because of Ishra only. Whatever is there, it has been given to me. I have not created anything. That understanding can help you to reduce your ahankara or sublate it. But there is actually no surrender. And Swamiji, I have two parts of it. This in this verse, it's very easy to understand seeing a karma in karma, because it's very easy, because once a Jnani knows that he is Atma and Atma is a Karta, there is neither a Karta or nor a Bhokta. So he is neither an enjoyer nor the doer. So he sees in action. But to see action in inaction is basically, it means that person doesn't see inaction as absence of action, because freedom from action is not the absence of action. So karma abhava is not karma. If there's a karma bhava also, I'm sorry. When you see action in inaction, he basically has the understanding that that actionlessness that other people think absence of karma, karya or karma is not the actual thing. So in inaction also he sees action. So this second part is a little tricky to understand.
Make it simple. Don't use the same words in English, inaction, action, action, inaction. Nobody will understand. So, karma abhava he takes to be action. And in karma, when you are doing karma, then he is able to see akarma actionlessness, the Atma Tattva. That way, once you understand this, karmani akarma yapashet. With reference to activity, even if the activity is going on, where the activity is happening, it is happening in the body, mind, sense, organ. It is not happening in the eye. So akarma yapashet. Akarmani cha karmaya. Akarmani, second one, akarma is karma abhava. And because karma bhava, there is a choice of not doing, and who is the chooser? The doer is the chooser. I am choosing not to do, and therefore I am a doer only, no? Not doing of action, absence of doing. And that is karma of not.
Swamiji, Shankaracharya ji says it like Viparit Darshanam. Two beautiful examples he has given, that from moving boat we see that trees
That is
on
very good.
the bank, they are moving, and when we see a boat beyond our eyes, very far away, then even boat is moving, then person feels that it is stable. So in both cases, Viparit Darshanam is there. That explains the karma in akarma and akarma in karma.
Yes, very good. So this
And
example Shankaracharya ji gives.
yeah,
When
he
you
has
are
given.
sitting in a boat, and so therefore, even if you are moving, in the boat, and you see all the trees opposite going in the opposite direction, then you see movement in the trees, and you become a fulcrum, kind of an actionless person. You are sitting in the boat. You are moving, but you are not moving, and therefore you see the other things moving. And when you are standing on the bank, and far away the boat has gone, and still the boat is moving very fast, but because being distance is there, you see the boat to be still. So this is the example Shankaracharya gives. So beautiful example. So even the movie screen, all the movement of the screen, you see something is not moving and it's moving. All that examples have been given. What
And so,
else?
and regarding ego, actually a lot of confusion is there, that to whom I should surrender, what will I get out of this surrender. So many confusion is there, and all these can be removed. It can be surrendered by having Shraddha in Shastra, Shabda Praman. Like a astra, they hit us and they bring us to the Tattvamasi. That is written by Big Swami.
So therefore, the whole notion of aham karta is the ego. Ego cannot give up ego. So it's only by pramana vichara, from outside pramana only. That is why the whole thinking is this ego is to be understood. In the Atma, upon that, it is superimposition upon that, wrong superimposition of the doership. And therefore, that doership has to be given up. Kartritva bhava in the Atma is to be given up. And that is possible only by the Shastra Pramana. The Shastra becomes an instrument of knowledge, of making you see that I perform no action at all. I is the Atma. In Atma, there is no Kriya. And that person is called as Buddhiman, the one who has Buddhi. Therefore, that person, he has arrived at this understanding. Because you see, ego, mind is only who's to understand, really speaking, the whole thing. Mind only understands the truth of the mind. Who will understand the truth of the mind? So these are the complex things which one has to sit with the teacher day in and day out and understand these portions. But if you don't study these portions very well and make notes out of these pages, you will not understand, because these pages are declaring everything. Everything is there in it. You cannot cover in 1 hour. Line by line, even if you study, you will not be able to finish this portion. But if you study and make notes, then you can present in the class your notes and also your viewpoint. and also the understanding of the Shastra. So I always emphasize that you please study the Gita, study, and then come with the points.
And Swamiji,
Antaranji,
another
you should
point is
start
there are
now. Antaranji, you should also start now doing studying proper. You don't find time, but yeah, okay.
And one thing, Swamiji, why Atma is not Karta? Because any action brings a change. And Atma doesn't go any change because it is not, it is Avyam and it is not assemblage of anything. Because if it is assemblage, anything which is assembled, it becomes, its part falls apart. So it is not going any change. It is its part having no attribute. So it is not the Karta. It
Yes.
only the Pratyut is superimposed on Atma.
Next class we will again discuss. Today time is up. So we will cut it short today. And yeah. So if you make use of this time in studying the Gita, study before the class, and ask questions what you don't understand, and also what you understand you present. And to present, you can write notes and you can read your notes out loud. If you're not able to do anything, you can read it loud. Where is the problem? People are to do these things, you know. Hmm. Right? We finish the class. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.